Live. Congratulations.
All right, well, guess I'll call this working session of the Vernon Park Board to order. We have some comments from Brad Bender to start.
I just want to bring up, excuse me, Scatterduck is September 27th. So that's going to come around pretty soon, but they're doing a working session on site September 13th. And I wanted to see if we could get some help from you guys. I've asked Josh Shaw and the scout troop to maybe do some helping as well. Carrie and her husband are going to help figure out on the goals, how to get them.
They'll be fixed tomorrow.
What's that?
They'll be fixed tomorrow.
Oh, nice. That's great. To get them raised up and fixed to 10 feet like they should be. I told them we could strike the court because they're going to have a 3-on. This is bigger than it has been in the past. They're going to have a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. They have a hay bale maze. They printed an extra 4,000 tickets, I believe, because the demand was so great. So I just want to get everybody on the park board in line and involved as well. And if anybody can help on the 13th with anything, I think we ought to, maybe spend a little more time with the restrooms that I have been, because nobody's using them, but have them ready and things like that. And stripe the basketball court. I've got the little walking machine that you can stripe with, but I'll need some help just to lay it out, things like that.
You're doing that on the 13th?
I figured that'd be the best time to do it. Yeah.
Say again, what is the actual event?
27th.
Do that at a time that they're starting. I think their work session had been in the morning.
She didn't really say. She just said their work day is going to be the 13th. They're going to spend a lot of time down at the river. That's why I'd like to get the scouts. The scouts are real great about that kind of work. So Davey, if you see your dad, mentioned it to him again. I texted him about it and I haven't heard back. So I just want to make sure I get that in front of you, and then tell you that I finally got an email from the engineers that are going to be working on the bridge over the Muscatatuck, but they want to have a Zoom or Teams meeting and have not set a schedule yet. But when I do talk to them, I will make sure that.
Do we do so a year? I mean, is it a 26 project, 27?
I don't. At this point, this is for the NEPA document, the environmental document, so I have no idea how far out they still are. But I will just make sure everything is in order and they understand we support the project, but we are not just giving them use of the park. Make sure they understand that fully.
Yeah, I went on their, are you talking about the railroad, is what you said?
Yes.
Yeah. On their tour, some of the other bridges that they had done and how they mapped it, or how they finished it, like what the yard looked like what they did after they, had some access to that area. And I think they did a really nice job, a person's yard, but I think it's an opportunity. They came in on their last project, another budget by like $1 million, and they expected maybe they could do the same on this project. So I thought maybe if, because they have access like along the river right there, a small section on the embankment, that maybe if we can come up with our concept of what we want this to look like, that when they leave and they do something, that maybe they could be generous in how they leave that section.
Well, I'm gonna work a little more toward, for one, we'll have some activities that they have to take into account.
Yeah.
And I don't think we support, but I really feel like there should be some compensation for using it, and then maybe some further improvements beyond just grading and seating. So.
Yeah, it's on us to have the design. If we have design, like tell them like what we're moving towards and see how much we can get from them.
But anyway, they just sent me an email the day before yesterday, and I have not heard more back. So. But yeah, the main thing, like I said, Muscatatuck, and then that's great if you guys are. Tell me if you need a hand or something. If I'm around. I think that's it.
Thank you.
All right.
I have a quick comment to share too. The still tentative council hasn't adopted this date. We'll talk talk about at our next meeting, but I've been coordinating with everyone for adding to the toilet papering of the Vernon Courthouse lawn and the firehouse's fundraiser dinner we're planning for Friday, October the 24th. Sweet Street will be on Halloween night on Friday the 31st. We thought if we did it a week ahead and kept it on Friday night, that would be accessible for families and good for all of our folks who might want to do a trunk or treat again. If you all don't have any input otherwise, we'll keep moving forward on that date and work towards that.
I think the sooner we can promote it,
Yep.
like one, get some of our local businesses here in Vernon to be more involved, and maybe some other residents that can come. Like, I thought it was a great turnout. Last year, maybe the turnout was better than like the number of vendors we had or which I thought was great, and I think everyone loved it.
Yeah.
I think getting a few more residents there or other businesses down there.
I think that'd be good. My goal is to have all the promotional materials ready to go for the town council meeting on the 11th, and we can start promoting. The library is already on board for having a WOW list there, and I just need to double back now that everyone's pretty much on board and tell the clerk's office that's when we'll be doing it. They told us this year they were able to be more flexible and we could choose the date.
Gotcha.
Which is how this is happening.
And you said the weekend before, so would that be like a Friday night?
Yeah, it's a Friday night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I might as well bring up, since you mentioned it, I thought.
Yeah.
Ghost Walk is October 17th and 18th, and they use the Commons as well. So that's,
Oh, yeah.
that'll be that week prior.
Mm-hmm. Alright, that's all I got.
Thank you.
All right.
This
Thank
is
you.
Jeff Walker speaking for anybody who cannot see me on public camera. I'm holding a baby.
We can turn the camera. All right.
Our meetings are going viral right now as we speak.
Do we have viewership, Jeff?
I have a comment about that.
All right, Haley, the floor is yours.
Okay. So I have been working on the draft of the 5-year master plan. It is currently at 21 pages. And we still have a few sections left, which is kind of what we wanted to do today. Talk about what we gathered from the public input, methods that we did, and what kind of plan of action we have going forward. But I want to know your guys' opinion on kind of how we're gonna change the timeline a little bit, because I have, after tomorrow, I'll have 2 weeks left of this internship, and then I'll be done with the master plan. And so I want to make sure that you guys are successfully taking over this. And I was rereading IDNR minimum submission guidelines for first draft, and this is for people who are going to be applying for a certain type of grant. And so it has 2 deadlines. So November 15th of this year, like this coming November 15th, you guys need to submit a first draft of the master plan. And I need to send you guys a document that says exactly what parts need to be complete and which parts don't need to be complete yet. And one thing is that we talked last time about public presentation of the plan, like the final public presentation. And we were thinking about that September 8th, but this would ideally, as this is written here, be the last step of the actual process of creating this plan. What would make the most sense is before November 15th deadline, we submit our first draft to IDNR, and then they submit it back after about a month or so, and they give you guys all of their input and what they think you guys should revise, and basically help us whenever it's April 15th, and then we need to spend all of it. And before we submit the entire thing, before April 15th, that's when you should have your final public presentation after you've already gotten IDNR's revisions and suggestions and comments, and you've edited it, and you're ready to show to the public that we've talked to DNR and this is what we think is the best version of the plan.
Sure.
So I think that it would be best in that case to hold off on the public presentation and just complete as much as we can so far, which can be all of the elements. But I think the public presentation has to be after we've already heard back from DNR about what they think of our first draft. I just think that their comments and their revisions would make a lot more sense to get first. Because the final public presentation has to really be like that final version that we're really happy about. And for the eligibility for the grant, we have to follow those 2 deadlines and guidelines.
So let me recap this to make sure I heard you right. There's the April 15th is the submission deadline for the final draft.
Yeah.
There's a November 15th for the first draft.
Yeah.
But there's only one public presentation.
Yeah.
And that's once we've received DNR's feedback.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, the first one is just so that they can see kind of how we're doing and what kind of direction that we're taking with the master plan, and they can just give us really helpful feedback, and they want to see that if we're going to be eligible for the grants that we want to be eligible for. And so I just think it'll make more sense to hold off until later about the final public presentation, just like be consistent.
So closer to that April 15th, so maybe.
Yeah, because when you submit the final draft, that's also when, after you submit it, they can decide if they're going to approve it or not, and then you may or may not have your official 5-year master plan after that. And
So ideally, we should have the final draft approved by the March meeting, and then submit it there.
yeah, and you need to also have it adopted at that time, and for you guys to all have a meeting and feel okay about everything that's been written, and also have that final version presented to the public by that point. So that's after I kind of reread all of this, and I'll send you guys through email the document that basically has like exactly what needs to be complete and what needs to be partial by November 15th. But they do encourage that this is like a minimum thing. If you can get everything done essentially besides like the final public presentation, that's just as good, you know. Just get as much done by the time you get to the first draft. Complete the last few sections, which is needs analysis, and then priorities and action schedule, and then also creating a new facilities location map, just a map showing all the facilities in our inventory that we already have, and then also where we're thinking if we leave today thinking that we want new facilities, also put that on the map of where we think those should go. So those are the last 3 parts. And I'm going to share with you guys tonight the draft as I have written it so far. So these last 2 weeks of my internship, instead we can kind of prioritize like cleaning up what I've already written, because I can almost guarantee that I've probably written something in here that isn't totally correct, or that I just haven't been able to catch when I'm rereading it, because it is 21 pages right now. So I need some fresh eyes to this, and you guys definitely know a lot about the community, so that would be really helpful. And ultimately, it is your guys' master plan. So I think within the next 2 weeks, it'd be better to be continuously looking at this and cleaning it up, fixing all the errors that exist in this draft, and getting confident about it, formulating a really strong action schedule, needs analysis, and yeah, and also just kind of start getting a template if we want to go that far and like go into Adobe or something. So that's kind of where I'm feeling with this, if you guys are also good with that.
Sure. So the draft you put together, well, let me just rephrase that. So what is our next step as a group? Is it to make up priorities for each property?
Yeah, and start thinking about the priorities and the needs analysis, because the first draft just needs to be submitted by November 15th, along with a couple signed documents. And what I'm thinking is before I leave, is being able to give you guys like a really strong document of everything that you're going to need to be submitted by November 15th, everything that'll need to be done. Just so it's really straightforward for you guys when you're still cleaning this up and then submitting it after I'm done. So I think the task right now is to just start figuring out what you guys want to start prioritizing and creating those last few elements of, you know, the action schedule and just what you guys find to be important as a board.
So does that make sense tonight for us to start with the list of properties and talk about priorities for each?
Yeah.
Okay.
And kind of decide what you guys have gathered from all the public input. But then again, like I said, you guys have until November 15th, but ideally it should probably all be before then and polished. So it's better to be on top of it. I just wanted to clarify that I just think it would make a lot more sense to not do the final public presentation yet, and to just continue going by the deadlines that I gave.
That makes sense.
So yeah, I just think the next few weeks will just be like formulating needs analysis, the action schedule and priorities, and then also just cleaning up.
Can you elaborate on what needs analysis would mean?
It means that when you looked at all survey responses, when you look at your notes from the public input meeting, and when you responses from the interviews, like analyzing what you think the community needs based off of that, you know, for the master plan.
Needs or wants?
Yeah. And I'm gonna share this document with you guys.
No, that's a real question. Needs or wants, okay.
I'll share this document with you guys tonight. I'm sure there's some sentences that probably don't make sense in all over this, but
yeah,
it is.
This is what you emailed us, right?
Yeah, I'll have a couple more documents I'll also send you guys, but just feel free once I send this to like look through it and completely open all edits that need to be made to this because it needs to be the best version it can possibly be.
Okay.
So I'd say.
So, do we just wanna start going through each property and discuss the feedback we, okay.
Yeah.
Did you happen to bring a summary of the surveys? I mean, is there like a consolidated?
Yeah, I emailed you guys.
Yeah, she sent that to us.
That document.
Is there a Wi-Fi app, do you know, for the city or town?
Vernon check guys.
Yeah, you don't need a password, I don't think, for changes.
And I also gave all of you guys access to the online Google form as well. Okay, if you guys want.
Survey cell.
I think also it's kind of the direction that you guys want to take as a board if you want to expand out, trying to create the priority list and not just sit down and do it in one meeting. Cause I know you guys September 8th have another meeting, and if we're not going to use that for the final public input,
We have a little more time.
yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if we.
Yeah, cause that really extends like our timeline, cause we thought we were like submitting this in like October.
Yeah.
I mean, I go back to the same thing, like it's, yes, public input and like, but defining what these spaces are. So we got everything from like a stage or a fire pit or a gazebo at the art park. And so I think it's really a matter of us deciding like, yes, we got all these things, but collectively us someone deciding like what that looks like. And do you physically want us to have an aerial view of it and start mapping that out? I mean, that's what I would love to do. Is that what you're saying? Like, if people say they would like to see this here, and this is what they want and need, and how do we take those things and put it into this space? Are we doing more just like a list of those things, or are we physically like drawing this out, saying, all right, we're gonna put a gazebo here, we're gonna put a walkway here, we're gonna put lights and shrubs and plants and flowers? Is that what you're?
What did you see in the master plan examples?
Yeah.
Did they have exhibits like that?
It's a little bit complicated than that because we have a population of less than 7,000 people. We technically have a template that we could just kind of plug and play and submit with like kind of the bare minimum information needed, where we could just list what we decided is most important things to prioritize. But the idea was like when I talked to Greg, and also having had this entire summer to like really expand on everything as much as possible and make it more coherent than just a bare minimum. It is kind of up to you guys a little bit. You need to like be very clear on what you guys decided was most important and what you guys decided that the town clearly demonstrated like a want and need for, and that should be clear in the master plan, but at the same time, you guys have the opportunity to kind of go out through some different like methods if you do want to like illustrate that. That's something that you can do.
So maybe we start with the template you have, and then we can elaborate from there.
Yeah, and I think about an hour and a half ago, I shared with you guys a slideshow that I had made the beginning of June that also outlines a lot of like what's required of every section element.
And so what part are we on, would you say?
We,
We've already done.
yeah, I have completed every section to the best of my ability up to needs analysis, which if you want to see like specifically what's needed for that would be slide number 23. Because a required element of that would be what you guys as a board kind of determine. So it's important that you guys are able to come up with stuff.
Is this distracting enough that it would be helpful for me to walk out for now, or are you all okay? Okay. Just want to check.
Yeah.
I know some of us are used to
So you say needs analysis is where you'd like for us to really. Okay. Bunch of things like on there, like what do you guys think? I think, in my opinion, and I'm not sure if it's something that was this specific, I think a high priority for our park, if that's what we're talking about first, is some utility infrastructure. Whether you're having certain events there or whatever, there is no access to water and there's no access to electricity there. So, say you do have a stage or you do have a gazebo where you're having a band or you do have some sort of say you're having something there, there's no access to utilities. All access is across the street. Some of the light poles, you can plug one thing in to some of those light poles, but there's no utilities there.
Well, I'd like to add to that, these light poles, they don't really work that well. We'll hang a Christmas light sometimes and we just kind of take this guess, like, well, yeah, I hope this one's on a sensor, but it may not be.
Yeah.
So it's.
Because sometimes they, like, either electrically there's something wrong or just simply the sensor.
Yeah, the sensor could be wrong or something like that. We'll try to reset the GFI on there, but we just kind of plug and play, so that'd be another thing to look into if we start going into electrical stuff.
But that must, I don't know how the utility would do that. So there's, on the courthouse lawn, there's some standalone meters. Is that what they use for the Sassafras Festival? Is that what that's for?
That's not, yes, we just reactivated those for the Eclipse Festival, because most of those hadn't been used in a long time.
Okay.
And we just reactivated a lot of those, so.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna take some notes, I'm sure you will too. We can just start with the arts park, like, keep going from there. So, access to utilities.
Going back from screen to screen here. Haley, I didn't find I got what you gave us.
Yeah, and I should also clarify that all the stuff you're seeing here in the slideshow that I shared isn't what's required of a town with less than 7,000 people. It's just like from the document that it serves as like a guideline for just kind of the general community in Indiana Tri-Valley Parks 5-year master plan, what they would want to see in that. It's not necessarily like a really strict list of requirements, but it's stuff that would really elevate the plan. And by November 15th, the idea is that you submit a really strong draft, and then DNR is able to give you the suggestions.
But one thing with ours, I did talk to Dave, he's gonna get the bench set back up very soon, hopefully. But he also said something about eventually he'll go out there and re-pour that footer, make it deeper, and be able to put that table up that's still in interest of the town. He would just re-pour everything, put rebar supports in there and everything like that, because he said he was pretty sure perceptions for that footer, and just moved it over there, but it's not thick enough. So they would put new brass dowels in there, and they would pour a whole new base for it as well, if that would still be an interest.
Gotcha. You have to pick a spot.
At that point, we could decide if we want it in the middle of the benches or not. But I said, well, we probably wouldn't, because it might,
There's no space there to put it in the middle of those pretty tight circles, right?
But none of those benches are actually set in stone. Those are movable.
They can be, yeah.
So we can move it or we need to, but we cannot move the table once that's set.
So, I mean, one of the survey summaries was like a gazebo or some sort of central focal point. Is that something we all agree on? Is that something? I think so as well. And so, Haley, once we say that, we just list it like, hey, this is priority number one.
They give kind of like a template that we're able to use for creating that list. And it would require some additional information of like cost estimate, potential source of funding for that.
And dimensions and footprint, finishing, or design, or can we just simply put gazebo stage?
It would just be year, site, action, cost estimate, and then potential source of funds. And for action, just install a gazebo. That would be enough.
Well, why don't we stick to the big stuff?
Yeah, so
Nail it.
Let's go through the basics of what the survey summary said. Gazebo, benches, story walk, and more art. I mean, did you just list those things? I think, I didn't see it on here, but I definitely thought, one of the ways that you mentioned, what's your name? You mentioned landscaping, flowers and plants. So I think those four are really simple, and then that's doing a cost analysis and how we're gonna fund it. Doing that, but then also adding utilities to that list and updating landscaping or improving landscaping.
I'd also like to add lighting, some sort of lighting.
It's pretty dark in
Back in the park itself.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing to keep the neighbors up, but something that, if it's a public space, something that would improve visibility.
Even just path lighting would help a lot.
Yeah.
Down along the
Get a
ground.
path first.
Key.
Well, at that point too, if we're gonna redo the path, we might wanna get surveyors out there and actually figure out what part is the alley and what
I
part
couldn't
is.
agree more. I think we need to
Because we need
punctuate the boundaries.
Because right now I'm pretty sure it's out in the alley, and then the benches could be out in the alley, you just don't have any idea where that boundary is.
Gravel pathway definitely.
100%.
Feeds into that.
But then if we're also gonna put in lighting, we need to know how far out we can go without starting to hit other people's property.
Well, the houses on, what's that? Montgomery? No.
Pike.
Yeah, Pike. I'm pretty sure that first one is where they built that bump out in the back that is right on the line. they start, where's, something about that as well. Define boundaries.
At that point, we need to redo that path, we can almost, if it scoots up into those benches, we can almost encompass the bench areas where you put gravel around and make it look a little more finished as well.
So we've got gazebo, lighting, access to utilities, define the boundaries. The survey did say more art, but I think over time we'll invite more artists and use that as an opportunity for display. I don't know if we want to pursue purchasing art as a town, right?
Right.
We want to let local artists feature their art there. As far as ADA, is there anything in your research? Do you need to do anything there?
Yes. I emailed Brad about, I sent him an email of what was needed out of the ADA section. The problem here is that Vernon is a bit behind with ADA
A
and
little bit.
and its compliance. So that's actually it feels a bit more like a work in progress as we continue to get more like concrete information about the town of Vernon's like compliance with ADA.
Which some of it we'll address with our Safe Streets for All grant that we will have plan on our crosswalks, our sidewalks, our traffic patterns, things like that. Because a lot of times, I mean, I don't count chickens by the hatch or whatever that saying is, but
I think you got it right.
a lot of times, like once you get that planning grant for Safe Streets for All, they're very good at also providing the implementation grants. So I think once we get that, that's gonna help out with our crosswalks, our,
Just to expound on that a little bit, we know that one of the pieces of the Safe Streets for All grant program that we'll probably be using is the ability to create a formal ADA transition plan.
yes.
So that's kind of what Wayne's alluding to. And especially on our streets and on public properties, that plan will give us good insight into what is and isn't ADA accessible. Obviously, we have our own thoughts, but we don't know the particulars about like so many inches tall or wide and all that stuff for the code. So that will be really insightful, but that's something that we'll have as a resource as a town hopefully in the next couple of years to draw on for future parks activities and work that you all can build on. But we don't have that yet. But yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, the ADA section, ADA and universal design section of this plan, I think what it just needs of us right now is to be very honest about where we are with that, and to just be very transparent about, because there's kind of a description of what's accessible and not accessible at every like part of our inventory, like the comments, like writing about what we're doing that makes it accessible to people and is compliant, and just being very honest about what isn't, and that'll help us in other sections when we want to justify spending money on, like updating like the comments, that we can kind of refer back to the section saying like we know it isn't compliant right now, and so it deserves, some funding towards that. But that's also what Greg had told me when I talked with him, was that if like we really are lacking in a place, like we should just be honest and admit that, because that'll help us with like creating like an action plan.
Yeah, and Greg Bellis has been saying that to me whenever I talk to him the last couple of years too. Like it's staying to me every time. It's helpful. Not to jump in, sorry.
So if we do have a gazebo or a stage, we would obviously want to make sure it was ADA compliant and accessible, but right now, I don't know that we can make it more accessible. It looks like all respondents said that they did not experience any physical barriers. What's that?
It was at the Vernon gym that there were no physical barriers, right?
Well, in the summary, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But then they also, is this right? They said 3 people wanted a renovated playground at the Arts and History Park, or was this for another? So the majority feel that the conditions of the park are either fair or perfectly maintained. That's generous. 8 feel the condition was average, and 5 feel it was poor. And when I asked how often they visit, 12 responded every so often, 5 regularly, 8 rarely, and 4 never. Most would like to see more events, programs, activities, improved walking paths, renovated playground, improved maintenance for the yard, and 2 want better signage. That's something I think.
Which section are you at?
I'm on page 2 of the survey summary. I think, and I don't know, did you bring up signage at our last meeting? It makes sense to have
No,
signage.
but it's been a perpetual conversation of trying to get a uniform signage, like,
for the town.
as we change our signs and update things, having some, a uniform theme to the sign. I think that's why when our son got hit on the curb, that stone, sort of columns, and then that matches some of the stone that we used over here and some of the walls we kind of put in with the trails project. That's why we went with that, to start creating a theme.
Kind of a brand.
A brand, yeah, like.
I think it looks great. We'll just have to update the other side of town too.
Yeah, because that could probably go in each section, so if we're still at part of the street part, yes, we said gazebo, utilities, all of those things, adding like signage there.
I should also clarify, just to like help you guys understand the formatting, the stuff that's like, I forget what it's called, but like the dots, like kind of listed underneath bullet points. That just means that only one person have written that.
Okay.
So like, cause there was a lot of write-ins, so if it's like by a bullet point, I just meant to indicate that only one person had written that in.
You're not saying those were the best ideas? Okay.
And I tried my best to not change anybody's wording when I copied this down.
So far we've got define the boundaries, utilities, lighting, gazebo, paths, and signage. Is there anything else that needs to be added physically or changed? I mean, I think we're
That's it.
hopefully general beautification of the, I don't know if we want to list a flower garden, but.
General landscaping. Improved landscaping.
Okay. Anybody object to moving on to the commons?
No.
All right. For the commons, the majority feel the conditions is either fair, 14, perfectly maintained, 4, 7 feel the condition is average, and a combined total of 3 feel it is either poor or not maintained at all. 17 responded they visit the park every so often, 5 regularly, 5 rarely, and 2 never. The improvement most people would like to see made is a renovated playground, better parking, better maintenance, and better, and 4 want better river access. There were 2 that said a renovated basketball court, 1 had a big slide, and more attention to history. And then it looks like everyone said that they had no physical barriers. Oh, I'm sorry, 26 no physical barriers. 2 responded that they were unable to use the park due to broken equipment. So, I mean, I think there's a common theme there, at least with the playground equipment. We need updated or renovated or improved playground. Would all agree on that?
Yes.
I missed that big metal slide. That was good.
Big slide.
Everybody's taking out their big metal slides.
Can we make it metal? Big metal slide?
Yeah.
Put it back.
So it squeals as you go down.
Yeah,
Burn.
and
Burn.
that's super burn.
It's super fun to send Hot Wheels down there.
Yeah. Playground equipment, okay. I have to agree personally, I think we need to, I mean, that's a really cool space. Your front row to the river, people use it for that. I really think we need to find a way to feature that river bank and improve accessibility. I mean, I'm still waiting on a call back from DNR. I've been trying to get them to consider us for that public access program, but I know in the past they've been critical of that because of the Crosley access ramp. They don't like to have ramps too close to each other. They like to find places where there's no access at all before they.
Like the helpful hint is like that's where people put in to kayak to the commons, and then they
get out
come out at Crosley like that. So.
I measured I took Google Maps and made a measurement tool, and I think it's about 9 miles along the river to get from the Vernon.
0.5. The crow.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I was hoping that would be more compelling to them, but anyway, so.
Who's in charge of that DNR? Of that portion of DNR?
So there's a Southern Indiana District for Public Access. His name's Luke Raines, I think.
Okay.
Like I said, we were emailing back in the winter, and he said, yeah, once things thaw out, we can connect, but I need to follow up with him. But I think we'd all agree that we can put the proper boat ramp or something like that.
Yeah, and I really think that there needs to be a spot where you can drop off your kayaks and then lock them up.
At the.
Yes, because you have to have another vehicle out the pickup area to come back to.
Are you thinking of a structure or like a post where you can use a chain, or what do you envision?
I would
I've seen
think
a couple things.
Yeah.
It's almost like something like a kayak rack.
Yes.
That then you just have something on there that you can like loop or and anything, someone could always cut a chain or do something like that. But it's like it's a rack, almost like, you ever been to Blues Canoes or anything place, like how they haul them?
Yeah.
It's just a structure that almost looks like
Canoe tree.
Yeah, it's canoe tree. Something like that.
It's really
Multiple people have brought that up
Mhm.
and just discussing it. Maybe not in this survey, but I've heard that.
Yeah.
We always just left somebody there to sit with them until we got back.
Yeah.
But that would be nice.
You really only need a little bit of square steel to do it, and then just weld it together. It's not super material intensive. You don't have to order a whole bunch of different parts.
So if we say river access, do we mean river access for people to sit and enjoy, or do we say river access for people to launch their boats or kayaks?
When I talk about the ladder, I just say ramp, but I think we can. There's a lot of potential there along that whole strip for people to sit there too. I don't know what that looks like. I don't think we can put in like.
And maybe Dan did a really good rendition in his early New World terms, doing the whole river walk. And so, like, maybe looking at that.
We can dig that out.
Yeah, he still has it somewhere. But
How far did it just go across the?
yeah, it just went across there. I don't know how far it extended.
I'm gonna need to head out. So I think she's getting close enough to sleeping that we need to address some things. But if you just hit stop streaming on the OBS system over there, it will shut everything off. That's the only button you have to click. I'll put the mouse on it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Smile for everybody watching.
See you, kid.
Yeah, sleepyhead. Bye, y'all.
See ya.
Alright.
That is basketball court.
Yeah, this one you can lock up.
Yeah.
I don't have my keys, but I'll go get them and then I'll come back.
I'll just give you mine.
You have keys?
Okay, great.
Renovated basketball court. Does that make the list? Well, maybe.
Sounds like he's gonna get somewhere renovated next month, so.
Or at least.
We're painting lines, we're
fixing the
holes, like
Or
things.
is it like a long-term fix, or just rigging them up?
So we're not rigging them and we're not welding them, we're actually fixing them so that they'll go up and down, but then Jason's building a new box to go around the crane, and he's going to weld that box on so that nobody can move take the box off to move the
That's a proper
goal
repair.
line down.
Okay.
So that's what we're gonna do.
Is there any way that we can put something just where people can't climb on top of the goals as well?
People doing that?
I've seen a couple like kids.
When they're low.
So I guess now,
So we're putting it at 10 feet.
Yeah, I know, I mean, like, people will climb up them, and they'll sit at the top, and their friends will like pass them a basketball or something, and they'll drop it down.
At 10 feet?
Yeah.
Good Lord. I don't know about that. I'm just
riding
wondering.
on some rails, like.
I didn't know if that would be anything to be concerned about or not.
I don't know that we can prevent some of that stuff. What about, beautification came up a lot when we talked, when we had the public meeting, like the flower garden, the pollinator garden, things like that. Is that worth focusing on, or should we?
I think it's been mowed down.
Yeah, if it's not mowed down, it will be mowed
Yeah,
down.
I think it's already gone.
So I think it's for us to determine if we wanna put back a pollinator garden there, because it hasn't been a pollinator garden, it's just been weeds now. I think one problem with having a pollinator garden there is it's so close to the floodplain. I mean, when the river gets out, it just comes in and wreaks havoc right there, destroys quality vegetation. So, I mean, if you have just grass or something like that, or whatever, I just think that, I haven't been down there, I didn't go down there most recently when we had like a lot of rain and flood waters, but I've been down there before, and that's definitely, like, when it gets out of the bank, it gets up in there. So I don't think that's the most ideal place to put this pollinator area.
Or maybe it's not a top priority.
Yeah,
And whenever they're doing the bridge, they would get one of that.
they're gonna tear that out.
So we'd be replanting it and then replanting it again after they're gone. So.
I met with him, you know, and I think that, like, us deciding what we would like to see there, and saying, hey, like, we know, like, you're gonna make a little bit of a mess here, doing this bridge, and you're gonna invest in putting this back. This is what we would like.
I'd like you to put it back this way.
Yes, this is what we'd like to see, and like I said, they were under budget in the past. It'll be in their budget to fix whatever they're doing afterwards, so.
Okay. Well, maybe when we look at those renderings of the riverfront, we can.
I think parking is a huge issue. Every year there's, you know, and putting some sort of barriers to like contain parking.
Absolutely, that's a good point.
Whether, what do we call those barriers along the path so people can.
Bollards.
Yeah, putting those potentially around, like, or even like the rail fence that the soccer club put in here, like putting that in a section around there just really deters it.
Yeah, right now you can just drive over everything.
We've gotten lucky that the basketball team, women's basketball, has had really good parents that have, getting ready for Muscatatuck race, the parents have come down and Bruce Paintball. Baron Kent is the one who fixed all the ruts last year, because someone had taken their, you know, side by side or whatever, and was doing loops down there and just made these massive ruts. And,
I thought we were doing that last weekend
yeah.
while we were there.
So, I mean, so that's great. We've had like the basketball event there, and they've really invested in maintaining, but really we need to do some things to deter that. And I think whether it's bollards or putting in some sort of like small, like inexpensive fencing to contain that area, should be a priority, and it will help us define parking a little bit there.
I agree. I'll put that on. Is everybody okay with me going off the list? Roadways. Timber.
What's the side by side? AJ, by any chance?
No, it was two younger kids.
Is Ashley?
It was not Ashton. I mean, no.
What else for the commons? We've got playground equipment, boat ramp, canoe tree, river walk.
Utilities.
Yes, because even though we just put those new bathrooms in, we didn't put any electricity or anything. And I think lighting, like we have it the other ones, but I think lighting is a perpetual thing that we can improve down there. I think the park definitely is supposed to close at 10, is it 10
That's what the
p.m.?
sign says.
So you could,
Utilities and lighting, got it. Are we doing okay so far, Andy? Anything else for the commons?
I don't think it's high priority, but I think a map of the river and how far the distances are to like pick up spots is a good idea. Because
That our
from,
signage.
from the commons to the back of my house,
I guess we have that wonderful sign down there.
it's
It looks
like an
great.
hour and a half.
Oh,
And we were like, oh, well, we'll keep going. Well, the next pickup spot is 2 more hours. And we had our young children with us.
so you went past Crosley?
We got out at the bridge.
Okay.
It took you that long?
Took you
Yeah,
2 hours?
What were you doing?
I don't know what we were doing, but it took us that
Gotta go when the water's moving quick
Yeah.
and then you,
There's no water.
It took forever.
did you have to get out?
It can take a while, there's no water. But if you, I mean, we've done that trip in an hour and a half.
And it took us like 3.5, 4 hours.
That bicycle go back
Yeah,
up river.
yeah.
Signage.
It was forever.
River route, and
Alright, so on this, are we allowed to discuss things that we think could be removed from the park as well?
yeah,
I don't wanna say anything's
it's part of the landscaping.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the other sections, like, you'll see, a lot of it is like, there's 2 sections in particular that are like really long, and it's, natural features and landscape, and then man-made, cultural, and historical, where I describe basically the nature and landscape of Vernon, and then the man-made, cultural, and historical features of Vernon. And a lot of what is required of that section is that I describe those things, and then I describe the implications of those things on what you guys are gonna end up doing. And what I decided to write in one part is that being a historical community, some features of buildings are a lot harder to maintain and keep up than others, and that some things have just been here for a long time, and so that is a potential area of improvement, is that some things don't necessarily still need to be here. And you're starting to understand the theme of what the plan is gonna sound like.
So I guess to his question, should we list items of removed as part of the needs assessment, or?
And
My definition, but I think, I know people have great intentions, but sometimes people are just like, hey, I wanna put this here, hey, I wanna put this here, and there's never been a plan. Like,
Or the
is there a Dogs of the World sign down at like,
Vernon, yeah.
it's just, like, things like that annoy me, like that sign itself, like, I'm not against dogs, I'm not anti-dog, I'm not
Right.
saying, but we just
Why
got
is
this
there?
random sign that says Dogs of the World, and
It was so good, though. I remember they were like, oh yeah, bring your dogs down to the park and then we'll make this giant sign down. Like,
Yeah.
this is
Whenever they do
the
go, they
library.
go in.
and so, like, the labyrinth, I'm not anti-labyrinth, but like,
It's just a pile of rocks.
it's
Yeah,
a pile of rocks, it's just sort of like,
Something to maintain.
something to maintain, and so those are some things I think, like redefining our spaces.
I like that.
How much, like, no one listed it, but what if Vernon wanted to have, like, let's be honest, like down there, people are kayaking, people are canoeing, people are playing basketball. It is a more active center for something like that, then we're not gonna have that at the art park. What if we put a pickleball court there? I mean, people love pickleball, no one mentioned it, but that is a space where you could put some, and is a pickleball court can be used, more easily maintained than the sign going around it and this rock pile.
Yeah.
That's just.
So that dog
behind-
sign-
I'm hiding behind him, as I say.
When we first moved back here, I don't know, I had only lived down here for a year before then. And we walked down there to take the kids to the park, and I was like, is this a dog park?
Exactly right. We've never
Are we
defined it.
supposed to like, well, I'm confused. And Jason's like, this isn't the dog park. And I was like, do you see this? Like, but there's a big sign.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. Like, I'd love to take down the sign and maybe we can move to Labyrinth or something, but I just think,
I would support that.
now I would just say the sign.
I think it also kind of still ties into, like, what you guys as a board and like what you guys think is important to start kind of gathering and figuring out what you guys as a board think would be really important. And then also looking at all the public input like that you've got and being like, right now, what does the community think is important? And of course, like some people, like someone writes in just like big slide and you know, like you don't know exactly what to do with that. But a lot of like the themes that you're getting are kind of about people wanting to be a bit more connected with their community. And you can see that in what they're writing and how they're responding, and then also in the interviews about like some of the people here want to host more events for the community, but they're not sure how. And then I think that's an easier way of kind of like, I don't know, like your example, like putting in a pickleball court. Like the community clearly wants a better way to connect with each other. And maybe some of them have a bit more outlandish suggestions sometimes, but
Yeah.
you can kind of justify that with that kind of reasoning.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that would be like written down.
Do we get into programming? Because programming isn't really like is that part of a master plan of facilities? Because yes, like I have some great ideas for programming, and now that I have some free time, like I'd love to jump on those things. But
Free time?
I was actually bored one day,
Wow.
like 2 weeks ago. I was like, I'm bored. Like I don't know the last time I said it. But anyways, like programming, that just seems like a different topic than a master plan of facilities.
Because that'll change over time, and if we have a good space, that can vary wildly from one program to a different one.
Yeah.
Do we want to put a new court of some sort on the list, or is that a later thing?
I think if you're gonna do a pickleball court, then you should just put a tennis court in and have it double
Right.
as both.
And then it could adjust depending on.
Do we know how much like at the other park, what's it, Chipton Park, is that what it's called, Chipton Park?
Yeah.
They have those stone or like concrete like
yeah.
cornhole boards, and they have a
Yeah.
bocce ball pit, and those are pretty easy things to add that create.
People using those over there?
They do. I walk
Yeah.
there all the time. People are using them at 8 a.m. in the morning.
The,
8 a.m. in the morning, people are
Are
playing
they
bocce
disturbing
ball.
your peace?
No, but I'm just shocked that they're there
I've
playing
had
bocce ball at
multiple
8 a.m.
seniors like
That's
who pick up bocce ball when they're in Florida or Arizona, and they say they come back here and it's a bigger thing in Columbus. Like, oh, we play bocce ball a lot. So those are something that are like it goes along with the theme of like the basketball court and then a pickleball court or tennis or whatever and cornhole. Like some of those things are pretty inexpensive than putting in an amphitheater, which I think would be cool there. But
It would be. We gotta mow the grass first, though. So, is that a yes on a court space?
yes,
Yes. I think bocce ball would be awesome. I love bocce ball.
Space.
You could also add in, like, I'm not sure if there even is any, but you're saying it's a place where everybody goes, play pickleball, do whatever, watch kayaks. I don't think there's any of those grills there that the Scat Tech has. It'd be a pretty, I could be wrong on that, it could be by the shelter house, but I really don't think there is any. It'd be pretty easy to set up.
Some of the steel.
like you can't be doing like that.
Yeah, you could set one up, people could roast hot dogs up before they go kayaking or something like that, or if they just spend lunchtime down there during the summer, letting the kids play on the playground, it'd be pretty easy.
I love it.
Do you
We
want-
actually talked
Do
about
I
that.
love it? I think it's a great idea.
Alright.
Amber and I discussed that because when we were going to get millions of people coming to town for the Eclipse Festival,
Yeah.
you know, millions of people were coming. Like, you know, we were going to offer camping at the Commons.
Really?
Because, I mean, we were going to have 10,000 people in there.
Who gave you those numbers?
I mean, that's what everyone, like the Midwest is going to be swarmed. There are going to be 11 million people in Indiana.
There were a lot of people, but maybe not that.
We had like 100 extra people.
Yeah.
And we were talking about like, all right, are we going to go camping? You know, we're going to have to set up parking. Like, yeah.
All right, I've got
So I'm gonna keep going off on these tangents.
playground equipment, proper boat ramp, river walk, define roadways with parking with timber bollards, utilities, lighting, signage, including your river route. Redefining space, removal of signs or other things. Court space, and then steel grills. Anything else for the commons?
I don't think so.
That'd be a nice little park there with all that.
I think it's a cute park.
It's a great park. And Jeff always brings this up, and I think he's right too. First public park in the state. I think we should run with that. That's really cool.
I think we should tap back into the roots and have like a day where everybody brings their cows and lets them roam in the field like they used to.
Put that on the cow. Not at the park.
That's what it was. It was a roaming area.
A grazing area?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And at one point, it was an oil well. We lived there.
So we're gonna have revenue if we get a.
Yeah.
Drill, baby, drill. I'm sorry.
All right. Other than the gym, is there another place we need to make a list for?
Gym, art history park, commons. Technically under your inventory, you guys also have the trail and the alley.
I think the trail's good for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
Although
The trees.
Trees.
There's,
Up the embankment, is that what we're talking about?
yeah, there's 2 new trees up there. I guess none of you guys saw it, but there's 2 more danger trees
Oh,
right there, back there, and right there.
is that recently?
July 2nd, or July 8th.
Where's that?
Back around the river.
Right where the other one was. Basically.
Right behind your house.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's,
So another space potentially is behind their house, the town we bought 1 acre, right there. It's an hourglass shaped
Mm-hmm.
acre. Is that something that we want to clear out a little bit more to make something? Do we want to sell it?
You can sell it.
Is that barn right by your house? The
Barn
town?
is the town's also.
That we would love to buy.
We can't sell it to an individual, but we can put it up for bid,
Surplus.
surplus it, and
So you bought an acre, huh?
yeah. it's
Yeah, you bought the acre from Bob Gossman, or?
It's this right here. This
Oh, this?
property right there. Yes.
Is that the house is up there, or is that? Oh no, that's the house. Well, this is all steep embankment, isn't it? You can't really.
This is more flat here,
Yeah.
and there's a big flat here, but then like half of this is embankment, half of it is more flat.
There's a lot of flat area down
And
there.
this is technically a road.
Just put a bunch of camping sites behind your house. I'm just kidding.
We tried to buy that acre, because it belonged to Jason's uncle, but he had already sold it to the town for.
The mayor was very aggressive on that property.
Yeah, he was. Sure was.
Oh, shoot. Anyway.
I think it's for sale for about $20,000.
All right. Well, then let's talk about the Vernon Gym, or the water. What is its name?
activity house.
Water recreation.
That's right.
It's-
Water recreational facility.
In the master plan that I wrote, I kind of couldn't toss between the 2 names, because I knew from Jeff that one of them was like more of the official name, and the other is just
Well,
what
the
we
town
call it.
adopted the water recreational center, I think.
Yeah, and so, but the thing is, like, with the master plan, the idea is that, like, the community is gonna be reading it, and I wanna just keep calling it the water recreational center, because the community reading that is gonna be like, what are you talking about? And so, in the master plan, I've called it the Vernon Gym, and then kind of like in parentheses every now and then, like,
I think the first priority, and this is probably arguable, is getting the last room finished. Because the idea was for when people have small events, like they have a birthday party or something like that that they would have it in one of these rooms like this. So that way the library can still be open, or the rec room can be open, where people can still be playing basketball and someone's renting this room for a 30-person birthday party. So getting that room back up to speed or finished kind of caps off the space. We have our government room and meeting room, we have the library, we have the history room, we have the rec room that Amber and I hope to finish this month. But that leaves people still having events on the stage. And if you have an event on the stage, I mean like a birthday party, then that means someone can't be playing basketball.
So they can, but it'd be terrible.
Yeah, yeah. So then it's like, all right, if you want the gym, then you can't have, like someone could be renting the basketball court and still have a party in one of these rooms. So I think priority one and a more financially achievable goal would be to finish that room. We're talking, these windows are $8,800 in windows, the floors are about $2,000, and HVA system in those rooms is $5,500. So we're talking $15,000.
15 grand each. And it's just the one left?
Just the last room over there is left. So, that's what I would like to put as a priority, because when we talk about the bathrooms, which I think is priority number 2, that's $100,000 project.
And those bathrooms something's gotta go.
And then I think priority number 3 is then getting the kitchen up to speed.
I didn't even know there was a kitchen here.
Yeah, it's kind of a kitchen.
It's a catch-all right now, but it's less of a catch-all
The
than,
piano still in there?
yeah, we tried to get it out, but I should dismantle it.
It's a mess.
So, I'm not kidding you, before I came mayor, floor to ceiling, these rooms full of rubbish. Like, spent 3 months just like, this is gone, this is gone, this is, I mean, we're talking like, we destroyed properly some things that, like 1960s water bills were still in here. But then it became a catch-all for anyone who's ever been a council member or mayor or something, like, oh yeah, just store it here, but you're right, you've seen all the rooms.
Even out there, that garage is nasty out there.
And now, it is what it is, but whatever. But I think that would be what I think the priority should be: the final room, the bathroom, and then the kitchen.
Okay.
I would agree. I would just add that we've got to address the airflow in that gym. I don't know, I think it'd be better
Yes.
cut a hole in the roof at this point. It's just so hot.
It's unusable in the gym in the summertime. So people do play there, but if you wanna have like something on the stage so that's why we put all these mini splits in here that have heating and air, but at least we can use these rooms in summertime.
So sorry, I'm switching topics. Who would use the kitchen? Would that just be a public space? Would it be the town?
So the idea, Jeff is on that right now. He's been talking before he left his position for the extension. There is potential partnership with the health department. The health department would like to put in a teaching kitchen or some sort of, this is before funding has been all changed and out of whack. But there's still a potential for partnering with the health department, and I think Jeff is a good person for that. Sure. Talk about that later, but of doing the kitchen, because they would like a teaching kitchen. It'd be surprisingly the center where now that big child daycare is going in over on O&M. There are people who would use that for cooking. Like there's several companies that would we could have a commercial kitchen, so they would go there and rather than if they don't have a storefront, they would do their commercial baking.
Or they do the
prep work in there, and they would lease it. Well, now that is no longer an option, we don't have a commercial kitchen for rent, or like if someone wanted to do something, because you could have, the health department could have teaching classes on, proper dietary things or whatever. The library here does certain cooking events, like I said, a kitchen, maybe you can have the main library, that they do certain, like, they call cooking with kids or something, so they bring in some microwaves in here because they do like the thing, you can mix it and put it in that little microwave or whatever. But that's a viable source of partnership.
But also, now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, if someone has a banquet here or an event,
Exactly right.
they'll have a kitchen space to use.
Yes, so even if it's not a full cooking kitchen, if we have commercial size refrigerators, commercial size freezers, and a place to store food, that if we do host a variety of weddings here throughout a year. Like where they could store food here, even if it's not a preparation kitchen, it's like something in between.
Sure.
I think they're stair-stepping that kitchen, how it's done.
I don't know if you guys have ever gone to the Vernon Baptist whenever they do their basketball games, which they did, I'm not sure if they still do. They also use that to do concessions. I know a while ago we talked about if they do rec leagues or stuff like that, having a concession stand.
Yes.
It's pretty easy to set up a concession stand in there. You already have food items in there, or you can even do
Or for soccer.
Sunday. Yeah, exactly. People come in here, cool off a little bit if we ever get HVAC working. And then,
Church league basketball draws a crowd, so we
Yeah,
did concessions just during that.
and then you already have a halfway sanitary place to do food and things like that. The other thing is, you need a bigger net between those two areas. A little one is there.
That's budgeted in
Okay,
our,
that is.
in what Amber and I, the final funds we have to do the rec space, there's a budgeted net
Okay.
in there. Have you been in the soccer facility?
No.
Oh, you gotta go look at it, how do you not?
Great.
It's really cool. It's never been around when it's open.
Have you ever been to Vernon? Have you ever lived here in Vernon?
No, you know, half the property is actually in North Vernon, so.
Let's see what the survey had.
We're walking. Alright.
There's a indoor playground, kitchen, noise suppression paneling.
Indoor playground?
Indoor playground for what?
How many playgrounds do we need?
That acoustic paneling, that's an interesting idea. Is that,
Wouldn't be bad. To make it more bearable to have people playing in the gym and then somebody up there.
Well, that's one thing it's been, so there's also a partnership potential with, Jennings County Players. They are the ones who used to host so there's been a divide between Park Theater, and they started their own theater group. The Jennings County Players are still looking to host events. They were trying to host their Christmas event here. So I need to grab with them because I think they would still like to host their Christmas event here because the Park Theater is no longer an option. And they have a rich history, they have, a good following, they have a big event, but their Christmas event is their biggest event. So the only thing that maybe would limit the types of events that they would have moving forward is the heat in the summer and the acoustics sometimes. So
how is it in the winter? Is this pretty warm in here?
I think it's fine. Like if you're just sitting watching basketball, you definitely want to wear a sweatshirt in here. But when you're playing, like you're playing sports, like it is fine.
But if it were full of people watching a performance, it'd probably warm up too.
Yeah.
Okay. So, acoustic / PA system?
We have a PA system.
We have a PA.
We never used it. It was donated by one of the Earls. It's in the firehouse now.
Another thing is, I remember the high school had talked about maybe having, how Madison does their historic game, they'll play in their old gym. They talked about maybe doing something like that up here as well.
So we tried to do that with against Madison and Jennings County, because now when the girls' high school team plays Madison, they will play at the Brown Gym in Madison, and I tried to get them here. But I don't think the coach wanted to do that. So I've already been in touch with Karen Schneider, because she's the athletic director for elementary school, to see if we potentially can get like the championship game for sixth grade basketball maybe here and draw a crowd there. She said
concession stand there.
she said she didn't think our facility was actually big enough for the championship of sixth grade basketball. But she said they're always overbooked on places to play, so maybe we can get some of the elementary school games here. So she and I did talk recently.
So we could have like a second row like the Park Theater has, and have some like stadium seating right for that.
Premium.
Yeah.
So with that in mind though, are the bleachers the only seats? We don't have chairs or anything here, do we?
I mean, we have like the 40 plastic chairs, like that we.
But nothing to create rows of, which they would want if they're putting on a performance. So far I've got refurbishing rooms, bathrooms, kitchen, ventilation and gymnasium, concession area, acoustic paneling.
We can go on this facility, we could talk about the doors, we could talk about, I mean. But
Awning right there.
Yeah, the awning, I think that's a good place to
That's a good start.
start, yeah.
Okay.
Is this a master plan, like everything, like, or just a 5-year plan? Yeah.
Oh, it's just 5 years? Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, and then I'm also gonna kind of write, or start brainstorming at least a part at the end where it's your guys' process of like continuously, you know, updating this plan to make sure that people can still see what's gonna go on in the next 5 years.
So everyone, we've got enough for the gym?
Yep.
Okay. Well, so we've got a list for each of the 3 properties. We're coming up on 7 o'clock. Is this a good start, you think, Haley?
I think the only thing for the alley is like, what we had talked about, Jeff and I, and as a council, is lighting. Because that was created, a lot of people don't use the county lot because they didn't really have a pleasant way from going from the county lot into the courthouse or whatever. So that's why we decorated and did the alley like we did, is to create a more inviting space. But it's definitely dark in there, so if you parked there, walk in the Mexican restaurant, and then you're walking back through that alley, it's dark. So I think adding lighting to the alley, like string lights, so just lighting, it's like,
I mean, I actually walked through there the other night, it was dark.
I just know where alley we were talking about. Well, it was like 3.
the alley next to the Mexican
No,
restaurant.
I got now, but we were talking about that alley at one point and the
With the tables
one
and
back
chairs.
there. Yeah. There
I
you go.
like how you can see right inside the restaurant through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've had this idea, like, we can get them to push Margs through that thing. Have our own Dora in the alley, it's just like sitting there, I'd use that alley way more.
Mhm.
Is that oversold?
Well, now with all your free time, you know.
Yeah.
When you're bored, you can just go talk to them.
You get PI walking from the
Out
alley
the
down
door.
to my house, like, that guy was- No.
I don't think the marshals out that much. All right, I feel like we've made good progress, and I think this is a good stopping point. Would you guys agree?
Will you take what we put in and then put this into the formal?
Yeah, do you mind sharing that?
Of course, I'll leave it to.
But no, yeah, I'll share so far the draft I've written, but like, I feel good about what I've written, but I also know that you guys are probably gonna read it, and some of it will read as gibberish, because it probably is, and some of it will be like, I'm not sure that's correct, that's probably also correct, and.
We'll wait till you're gone before we
Yeah.
criticize.
Yeah, and then you guys will also be like, oh, she missed this detail, which is probably also true. So, but that's also why I'm sharing it with you guys.
Sure.
So
Well, I'll tell you,
that is the fix for
we've made more progress on this plan in the last couple of months than, I guess, a couple of years prior to that, so. All right, well, I will send this to you, and do we want to schedule a time to meet again? What would be a good, how long would you want to work with this before we
I
come back
think
together?
this next week,
We have a regular meeting, what, in 2 weeks?
I think this next week after this is a good time for you guys to look over what I've written and make your kind of suggestions, comments, edits, anything that you're thinking needs to be changed, fixed, whatever. And for me to start kind of designing more concrete kind of like templates, getting all the photos of all the facilities and inventory, and getting all that like last stuff finished. And also for me, spend the last week of figuring out how to make sure that once I'm done with my internship, you guys know exactly what to do from there.
Right.
So, and then I think once that last week I'm here as an intern and you guys have your meeting, we can just kind of like make sure that everything's just solid by that point.
Great.
So as long as I have that document, I think we'll all be good.
All right, so we're gonna meet at September 8th, right? That's the second Monday before the.
Yes.
That's right, okay. All right, we're adjourned.
Yeah, hole in one.
I'm not gonna edit this up, I'm just gonna send you my chicken scratch.
I don't want to see.
Let me know if you have any questions.
Weeks later. That's what he told me.
I have a funny story.
It's only
One of
fair,
my really good friends from undergrad. There's just, I don't know where they're playing, they described it like there's a par three, but it's up there, and we can't really see the hole, and they were up there, someone gets into that on this par three. And so they take the guy's, puts it in the trunk. So he was from their town, so now he thinks he's got this hole in one, and so at some point, they're gonna tell him or send him a letter like, hey, you did a hole in one, you did this on this date.
Oh, man.
And so,
Brian Myers got a hold of one at Whistling Straits.
really,
Yeah. Hole number 13.
I don't think, who's that?
He's the owner of Shadowwood.
Okay. The same.
Your stream will stop. You know what?